Hey y'all, so here are 5 things that you need to find in your local community when you're starting a nonprofit. Let's get into it. This is Tiffany with Boss in the Budget. I help new and small nonprofits get it up and running. So if you need help with your nonprofit, you need to make sure you subscribe to this channel because I drop videos every single week and I talk about startup and raising startup funding. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you 5 things you should absolutely be looking for in your local community when you're starting a nonprofit. The important thing you got to realize is when you're starting a nonprofit, you need as much support as possible. If you are trying to do this on your own, in your head, if you're like, this is my mission, this is my organization, I don't really need no help, I don't need a board. If you come at it with that attitude, I'm just going to stop you right there. I need you to open your mind up and realize that you're going to need community. And when I mean community, it could be many things. It could be community in sense of a team or your board around you helping to launch your organization. It's different people or groups in your community to support your organization. You cannot do this in isolation, and it doesn't matter how much you want to. Right? I know some of you may be introverts. I actually did a video on this, like what to do when you're starting a nonprofit when you're an introvert, and I'm linking it above. And I know that there may be temptation to like, I just want to do this. I just want to launch on my own. I don't want to involve a bunch of people. I just want to make sure this is successful for me. But that's just not the purpose of a nonprofit, and you're going about it kind of in a way you shouldn't. So in your local community, there are 5 things you should be looking for automatically. And it may look different, community, but generally you should be tapping into these 5 things wherever you are. Now, if you need help starting your nonprofit and you need help developing your idea and fleshing out your programs and figuring out how you're going to finance everything, you need to make sure you grab my nonprofit business bundle. I'm linking it below, and it has 3 workbooks that will walk you through those processes so you can feel more secure about what you want to do when you're starting a nonprofit. So the first thing you need to have in your local community is a mentor. So I talked about this in another video that I did, but you absolutely should be looking for someone who has been in your shoes, who has walked in the places that you're trying to walk, to learn from their experiences. So you want to know their lessons learned, you want to get their insight, because they're going to look at things a different way. And when people have hindsight about their own journeys, they're very insightful. They can be very reflective, and that insight can help you as you navigate as you're coming up behind them. So I do recommend that you find a mentor, somebody who has started their own nonprofit before, because the startup journey is very unique. So you want to find somebody who started from the ground up. So it could be helpful to find someone who's like an executive director who's actually running an organization to help you realize all the things you need to have in place to run successfully. That's important too, but you absolutely should be finding somebody who has been in your shoes and they've actually launched from scratch, because that is a unique experience that no one else would understand, because it's completely different when you walk into something that's already established versus something that has never been done before. So if you're looking for places to find that, I recommend that you first talk to your nonprofit groups in your area. If you have an association, or maybe there's a local United Way, there may be memberships of nonprofits, and they can point you to people who had that experience. And just for real, use social media to find these people. Go on LinkedIn, you can go on Clubhouse, you can go on Instagram and Facebook, and there are plenty of groups even on Facebook and in LinkedIn that talk about like startups or that talk about nonprofits, and you can find people and just begin to identify where people are in your local area and just meet up with them and learn from their experiences. Not everybody's going to want to mentor you. Not everyone's going to want to spend the time to pour into you, but don't let that discourage you. That's just that person. That's just that person and how they feel about it. If they don't want to help, just find someone else. It may take some time. Just be patient. It may take time to find somebody who's willing to help you. That's why it's also important to have multiple mentors. So you may want to have a mentor who has a skill in something you want to grow, and then you have a mentor and someone who has a particular experience that you're interested in. And you may have a mentor that's very specific on the type of programming that you do, and then a mentor who's just generally, been a founder. It just depends. It doesn't have to be one person, but try to find someone, especially in your local community, because they understand understand local community politics, they understand local community context, and that can help you as you grow. Number 2, you need to find a professional association or group in your area. This could be your nonprofit association. Not every state has one though. Or it could be your chamber of commerce, or it could be some kind of business league or business group. From location to location, the names of these groups may be different. It may look different, right? From state to state. So I can't give you like one name and say, go to this organization in this area, because first of all, the name and the makeup of the organization may be different, but also the experience may be different depending on where you are, like what state you're in or what locality you're in. But absolutely align yourself with a local professional association, one that supports nonprofits and or small businesses, one that supports startups, whatever is available to you, align yourself with them. Now, some of these associations have costs, and you may not be able to afford to be a member, but they may like occasionally host trainings, or they may host mixers or networking events. So even if you can't become a member, still join their events, still get on their calendar or on their mailing list so you can learn more about what they're doing. And then eventually, if you do need to pay to participate, when you eventually get the dollars, you're able to join. The third thing you need to find in your community is your community foundation. Absolutely, you should be tapping into your community foundation. I did a video on startup grants and I talked about the community foundation. I'm linking that video above so you can check it out for yourself. But just about every locality in the United States has a community foundation. Now, there are some websites that have like a directory, but you can honestly just Google the name of your state and put community foundation, and it will more than likely come up in Google. And just keep in mind that there are usually more than one community foundation in a state. Now, every state is different, but community foundations are very much dependent on the local environment. So like in my particular area, there are 6 or 7 in very close proximity to each other, but they all serve different geographic areas. But because of where I'm from, just how we're set up geographically, it's just like that. So you want to be mindful of all the different community foundations in your area and which ones fund in the areas that you're interested in serving in, and you need to tap in. So what I mean by tap in is find out who the program officers are, find out what they do, what they fund, and set up meetings with them, introduce yourself, introduce your organization. And one thing to keep in mind about community foundations, they generally manage portfolios of money, and they give out community dollars, local dollars. And a lot of times when a bigger organization or a bigger foundation wants to funnel money in a community, they may go through the community foundation to do that, right? So they may work in tandem with the community foundation. So you need to make sure they know who you are. And they also manage like smaller pots of money. So if you have like what's called a donor advised fund, maybe you have some extra funding and you want to donate it, but you put it in a fund because you're not sure what you want to do with it yet. They manage those donor advised funds for people like that, and they help those donors pick, causes that they want to give their money to. So it's in your best interest to know the people at the community foundation. And often community foundations are very supportive of their local areas and of local nonprofits. So they also may have trainings or events that they put on to help nonprofits. They may give away space. A lot of community foundations like give away their space for free for nonprofits to use them. They may connect you with consultants and things like that. So absolutely, if you haven't already, look up your community foundation, find out who the program officers are, and begin to set up meetings to connect with them and to share more about what you're doing. The fourth thing you need to find in your community is your local representative. So this is an elected person, and it may be more than one. I'm not just saying just one person, but identify like all the governing bodies in your area. You may have a county council, or maybe you have like an alderman, whatever it's called in your area. But then there are different levels to it. You have people at the county or city level, but then you may have people at the state level. And then you also want to think about your federal representatives, like your representatives in the House of Representatives or your senators, your state senators. You want to think about all those different levels. You want to identify all of those people. You want to get their contact information. You want to get the name of their staffers. You want to understand what their staffers are responsible for, because sometimes they have multiple staff and those staffers are responsible for different like content areas. You want to get to know the names of these people and you want to meet them. You want to set up meetings with them. And here's the thing that I want you to keep in mind. Our local representatives work for us. So in your head, you may be like, why would a senator want to meet with me? I'm just me. You are not just you. You are a constituent. And you also have an organization that's doing hopefully good things in your community. And they need to know about that. They need to understand your experience because they can advocate for you on whatever level they're on, whether it's the federal level or the state level, to pass laws that help you do the work that you do, or at least make sure that your voice is heard when they're considering legislation. So you should absolutely draw up a list of these people, draw up what committees they serve on, as I said before, figure out who their staffers are, get their phone numbers, get their emails, and just get active around issues like this. Now, I just want to put a disclaimer that when you are a 501c3 organization, there are limits to some of your political activities. So I'm going to link an article below so you can read for yourself what those limits are. But especially when it comes around lobbying, you want to be careful, but you absolutely can still develop relationships with your local representatives just so they're aware of what you do. That can be extremely beneficial to you. And they also are aware of funding that's available and they can help you tap into funding as well. So to round out this video, number 5, the 5th thing that you should find in your area is, and this is very general, the faith community. And this can mean a lot of different things because I know from locality to locality, this looks so different and there may be different religions or denominations that are more prominent for whatever reason. But I highlight the faith community because they are often tight-knit communities. They often are long-standing, so they have strong infrastructures, right? They have strong connections. They often have a powerful voice in your local community, and it just makes sense to align with them. So I'm not saying that you have to have be in the same denomination or even be of the same faith to want to partner, right? That's not necessarily the case. The reason why I'm calling out the faith community is because usually if it's a religion, there's a strong value around community service. There's a strong value around charity. And even within a denomination, within the churches, even on the local level, there are groups who are looking to do charitable work. There are groups looking to help someone. I mean, I'm associated with the church community, so I can really only speak from a Christian point of view, but it's the same for other religions as well. There are often women's groups or different clubs that are always looking for ways to give back and to help, whether that's to raise money, whether that's to donate items, whether that's to do community service projects. And it just makes sense to align yourself with those types of groups because they're already predisposed to that work. They already have the mindset that they want to help. And oftentimes they're just looking for someone or something to tap into. So if you haven't thought about your faith community or connecting with some kind of network within your faith community, because every religion and denomination is structured a little differently, but they usually have conferences or networks that they're organized under. So try to figure out what that structure is and see how you can make relationships with those different groups so that you all can work together towards a common good. And again, even if you're not of the same faith, they may be really passionate or really care about a topic that you care about too. So they may want to go all in on that topic or at least support and promote that topic, right? And you got to remember, people who are in religions or people who are a part of faith communities are usually committed to those faith communities. They usually show up a lot. They're usually consistent. And that's the kind of people you want. You want people who are consistent. You want people who already are used to doing good things as a part of a group. You're trying to attract the same people who would be good supporters for the kind of work that you want to do. You want people to volunteer and show up consistently to volunteer, then people who do the same thing in their faith community probably will do the same thing for you, right? And I'm not saying guarantees, but I am saying don't overlook this potential partnership in your local community. All right. So is there a particular partnership that you've made of all the people that I've listed in this video, or even other types of connections that have really worked out for you? I want us to share in the comments. This is a community that I'm building so that nonprofit founders can support each other, so we can learn from each other, because it's hard and people don't always like to share information. Let's just be real. But I want us to be open and transparent and learn from each other. So feel free to chat in the comments so we can build together. If you do need help with your nonprofit, make sure you go to my website, www.bossonabudget.com. For those who often ask, do I provide consultation? Yes, I do. There is more information if you go to my website. You can check it out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.